There was a man named Peter who lived in a small town near wide open fields. Peter loved animals more than anything else, and among all the animals he loved his horse Thunder. Thunder was tall, strong, and gentle, with a shiny brown coat and a white star on his forehead. Peter spent hours every day brushing Thunder, feeding him apples and riding him through the countryside. People in town often saw Peter riding down the street, waving cheerfully with Thunder, trotting proudly by his side. One sunny afternoon, Peter was riding Thunder back home after a long ride. The horse seemed thirsty, and Peter himself wanted a cold drink. Suddenly, as they passed by a small convenience store, Peter got a silly idea. He looked at Thunder and said, "What if we go inside just to say hi?" He laughed at his own thought. The idea sounded funny and harmless. He imagined how surprised people inside would be. When a horse walked through the door, Peter believed it would be a great way to make the day more interesting. Without thinking much about consequences, Peter guided Thunder to the entrance of the store. He tied nothing because he thought Thunder should come along. As the glass doors slid open, the bell above jingled. Loudly, customers turned their heads, expecting to see another shopper. Instead, they saw a huge horse stepping inside, with Peter holding the reins. Thunder snorted softly and clopped his hooves on the shiny tile floor. Everyone froze for a moment, staring in disbelief. Peter grinned and said loudly, "Do not worry, everyone. We are just here to say hi. This is Thunder. He is friendly and just wanted to visit." The horse sniffed the air, curious about the strange smells of chips, candy, and soda bottles. A child pointed with wide eyes, shouting, "Mom, there's a horse in the store." One woman dropped a basket of bread while the cashier nearly dropped the scanner. Thunder took a few steps forward, and the sound of hooves echoed across the aisles. People jumped aside to make space. Peter thought it was hilarious and waved his hand like a showman. "Look at him," he said. "Thunder's behaving better than most people." The horse flicked his tail and looked around, but the space was too small and the shiny floor too slippery. Thunder shifted nervously, nearly bumping into a stand of potato chips. The stand wobbled dangerously as bags slid onto the floor. The store manager rushed over, his face red with shock. "Sir, you cannot bring a horse in here," he shouted. "This is not a barn, this is a store." Peter laughed and replied, "Oh, come on, he just wanted to say hi. He will not be long." The horse, meanwhile, was sniffing at a refrigerator door and nudging it with his nose. The glass rattled as bottles clinked together. Customers gasped, afraid everything would fall. One man pulled out his phone, recording the entire scene while giggling. "This is going to go viral," he whispered to his friend. The horse tossed his head and snorted loudly, which startled an elderly lady. Quickly shuffled out the door, muttering that the world had gone mad. The cashier kept repeating, "Please, sir, please take the horse outside." But Peter kept insisting that Thunder was calm and polite. The situation grew more chaotic when Thunder stomped one hoof impatiently. The sound was so loud that a stack of candy bars toppled over. Little boy squealed with delight, but his mother dragged him away, worried about safety. Finally, Thunder let out a loud neigh that echoed through the entire store. At that moment, the manager pointed to the door and said firmly, "Sir, either you take that animal outside right now or I am calling the police." Peter realized that his joke had gone too far. The store was not the right place for a horse, and even though Thunder was gentle, the tight aisles and fragile products made everything risky. He tugged gently on the reins and said, "Come on, buddy, let us go." Thunder followed him back out onto the sidewalk, where the air was fresh and the ground solid again. People outside stopped to stare as the horse emerged from the automatic doors like some kind of giant celebrity. Peter looked around, embarrassed. He climbed onto Thunder's back and rode away, while people inside began to laugh nervously and clean up the small mess of candy bags and knocked over shelves. That night, the video recorded by the customer spread quickly on social media. Thousands of people shared it. Some laughed at the silliness. Some criticized Peter for being careless. Others said the horse was beautiful, but deserved better treatment than being dragged into a convenience store the next day. Peter visited the store to apologize. He spoke to the manager and said, "I am sorry. I thought it would be funny, but I realize now it was irresponsible." The manager accepted the apology but warned him never to bring Thunder inside again. Peter nodded, feeling wiser. He promised himself to keep Thunder where he belonged, in open spaces where he could run freely without slipping on floors or scaring people. From then on, Peter continued to ride through town, but whenever he passed the convenience store, he smiled to himself, remembering that strange day. He understood that even harmless jokes can create trouble when not thought through carefully. Thunder, meanwhile, seemed much happier. Outside munching on grass, instead of staring at shelves of potato chips. And so the man who brought a horse into a convenience store just to say hi learned that animals belong in their natural places, not inside shops, and that respect for both people and animals is always more important than a silly laugh.